welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today we'll be covering Innistrad Midnight Hunt in our Digging Up the Past series. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about Innistrad Midnight Hunt. It was our 89th Magic expansion. It was released on September 24th, 2021. It is paired up with the Crimson Vow, which released 2 months later. The set was originally announced with the provisional name Innistrad Werewolves based on the registration of the public domains on September 18th, 2020. The final name was speculated to be Innistrad Midnight Hunt, which was confirmed on March 18th, 2021. The set symbol is a wolf head in front of a full Innistrad moon. So, let's dig into some of these zombies. I was really kind of excited for this set because zombies were coming back into standard. And you know, being the Ghoul Dude, you gotta be excited about zombies. So, starting off with Drown Yard Amalgam. For 4 and a blue, we get a 3/6 zombie horror, and when it enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. For 2 and a blue, it can't be blocked this turn, which is pretty cool. Falcon Abomination. For 2 and a blue, it's a zombie bird, 2/2 with flying. It enters the battlefield. Create a 2/2 black creature token with Decayed. And I love the flavor text on this one. It says it's the foulest of foul. And I love how we're going to Innistrad and we're seeing all these new things kind of cropping up out of nowhere. Like the Stitchers are putting zombie heads on bird bodies. But if you don't notice it, and if you don't look at it too hard, you see in the background that there is a bird on a body. A bird head on a body, which is really strange. Like, I didn't see this the first time I looked at this card, but it looks like the roles should be reversed. There should be a person head on the body and a bird head on the bird body. And it's flipped. So I gotta give the artist some props for this one, because I didn't notice it the first time I was rolling around. Lardersk Zombie. For 1 and a blue. 1 blue. It's a 1/3 zombie with Defender. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. It could be any creatures. It doesn't have to be zombies. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. So it's kind of like a Surveil before we had Surveil. We'll get to those later on down the line when New Capenna hits. But this was that. This is what Surveil was. Organ Hoarder. For 3 and a blue, you get a 3/2 zombie. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So you get kind of like an anticipate effect, but it goes into your feed your graveyard. So in my opinion, that's not bad. Diagraph Horde. For 4 and a black, you get a 3/4 zombie. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. When you do, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. In my opinion, this is really good, because if you have a pesky like graveyard deck, but you don't want to nerf them, you don't want to feel like you're picking on them too bad, you can just exile 2. And you still get, I mean, even if you don't, you still get the 2 2/2s. Kind of reminds me back of the days of the Grixis slave driver, or whatever his name was, where when he died he left 2 2/2s. So you know, it is what it is. It's pretty good to me. Hobbling Zombie. I don't even say the hobbling most of the time. I just say hob zombie. It's really strange, but he's hobbling because he's got a chain. He's got a metal trap on his foot. So that's pretty cool. And it looks like he's wrapped the chain of the... Oh no, he's got 2 in him. He's got 1 on his foot and 1 on his shoulder. I guess when he fell into the other one from the first one. And he's got the chains wrapped around him so it doesn't keep him from going anywhere. Sorry. Just being able to look at this art again. It's pretty cool just seeing what the artist can come up with. But he is a 2/2 with Death Touch, and when he dies, you create a 2/2 with Decayed. I see someone tried to stop you, my pet. How delightful. Ghoul Collar Gesa in the flavor text. That's pretty cool. Morkrut Behemoth for 4 and a black. It's a zombie giant, 7/6, and it's an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, or pay an additional 1 and a black. And it does have menace. I don't know if this would be worth it. I mean, it's pretty cool to have a 7/6, but with menace for 5, but have to sacrifice a creature that could be doing more. I don't know. Sometimes it's just not worth it. But in draft, I'm assuming this is pretty good for 5. Siege Zombie for 1 and a black. You get a 2/2 zombie. And it's kind of like the Larder Zombie where you can tap 3 untapped creatures you control and each opponent loses 1 life. I like it. It's not bad if you got a very big horde of zombies that you can just tap down, or you're constantly making zombie tokens like in an infinite loop. This is your outlet if you don't have any more. And I really like the art of this card, like how the moon's coming out. This is going to be an art appreciation video, I guess. And here we come to the big boy, the baddest of them all, probably my favorite creature in the whole during this standard rotation. Champion of the Perished for 1 black. It's a 1/1 zombie, and whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. This still puts in work for me in a modern deck that I have together, because it's just constantly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love the flavor text on this one. He rose from the graph for every cobbler, tanner, and fool who'd been slaughtered in the parish, and they rose and shambled after him. That's dedication right there to your craft. Tainted Adversary for 1 and a black. It's a 2/3 with Death Touch. When Tainted Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black any number of times. So this is like multi-kicker. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on Tainted Adversary, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. This one was a standard all-star. It's about to rotate out, that's why I say it was. But I enjoyed playing with this card a lot whenever it was in standard. It did a lot of work for me because them 2/2s just keep coming. Even if they kill it after it enters the battlefield, it might have a lot of counters on it, or would have had a lot of counters on it, but you still get all those Decayed tokens. Blade Stitch Scob for a blue and a black. It's a 2/3 zombie soldier, and other zombies you control get +1/+0. So it's providing some of a buff, but not all the buff. Now this one is in here because it is an honorary zombie, because when it flips around, it does become a zombie. So Ludovic Necrogenius for a blue and a black. It's a legendary creature human wizard with power and toughness 2/3. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, mill a card. Then you can pay X, 2 blue and a black, and you can exile creature cards from your graveyard and transfer them to Ludovic. X can't be 0. Activate only as a sorcery. So let's see what he flips around to. Olag, Ludovic's Hubris. Legendary creature zombie. As this transforms into Olag, Ludovic's Hubris, it becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it, except its name is Olag, Ludovic's Hubris. It's 4/4, and it's legendary blue-black zombie in addition to its other colors, types. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the number of creature cards exiled with it. So what I would probably do with this, if I was building it, I would probably build it like if it becomes a copy of the exiled card, but it keeps basically the name and the stats, I would probably choose for it to be probably a Champion of the Parish, because it'll just get bigger and better. But the only bad thing is you don't want to run this as commander, because it's not. Would it be your commander? Would it not be? That's a good question. That's something I'd have to look up. Questions for later. And then we go on to Grizzly Ghoul. For 2, a black and a green. It's a 4/3 zombie bear with trample. Zombie bear with trample. When it enters the battlefield, it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn. What would even better would be is if it had flash, so you could really make use of that ability. And then here we get into our zombie affiliate cards with Flip the Switch for 2 and a blue. It's an instant, and you can counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. So 3 for 4 or 4 for 3. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Revenge of the Drowned for 3 and a blue. It's an instant. Target creature's owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Yep. Startle for 1 and a blue. It's an instant. And target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed, and then you draw a card. See, I don't know why this is. I'm guessing it's because he found the hand in the water. But if you look behind him, there's a zombie coming to collect. Either to collect or come to munch. So, yeah. I think it was when he went to pull back, he yanked it off of him because he's fragile as a zombie. And he went to go forward with it, and he found out there was an arm attached to it, and he got scared. Poppet Stitcher. This is another one of those uniquely combo-tastic cards that we have now in EDH. Because when it goes over to its backside, you'll see what I mean. So for 2 and a blue, we get a human wizard with 2/3 power and toughness. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you may transform the Poppet Stitcher. Oh, I didn't grab that one. Why did I not grab that one? But the other side is basically you have it and all of your zombies don't have Decayed anymore, and they get a buff, so they're 3/3s without any ability, so they lose Decayed, and then you can flip it over at the beginning of an upkeep. But that really just goes into you can sack a dude. It goes into a ton of combos. Anyways, continuing on. Crawl from the Cellar for a single black. You can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target zombie you control, and then you can flash it back for 4. That's pretty neat, I guess. No Way Out. For 2 and a black, it's a sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards of their choice. You create a 2/2 zombie creature token with Decay. Rotten Reunion. For a single black, it's an instant. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decay. And then it has a flashback for 1 and a black. I really love these type of effects, like Cremate and this one right here, Rotten Reunion. It's a really good effect that we need in Standard whenever we have like rampant cards that are just so good out of the graveyard, especially now with Reanimator decks coming up with at this point in time Atraxa Reanimator. That one's pretty bonkers. Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephilia. For 1 and a black, you get a legendary creature human wizard with power and toughness of 1/1. Beginning of your end step, if you control no other creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So this goes in line with another card we'll see, I think, if I put it in the slide, where if you're just playing these two separated, it's fine because they don't have Decayed, so you can make a 2/2. But with another card, I think I'll put in if I don't, I'll let y'all know what it is. Corpse Cobble for a blue and a black. It's an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice any number of creatures. Create a XX blue and black zombie creature token with menace, where X is the total power of the sacrificed creatures. And then you can flash it back for 3, a blue and a black. Which is funny because what you can do is you can sack it, all of those creatures, and then you can play more creatures later and sack them again to make the next thing even bigger. It's pretty cool. And you can throw in the one that you sacrificed. Ghoul Caller's Harvest for a black and a green. It's a sorcery, and you can create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed, where X is half the number of creature cards in your graveyard, rounded up. And then you can also flash this one back also for 3 of black and a green. But the card I was referring to is the new Gisa in this set. It's the recursion one, because with Jadar and Gisa both on the field, you won't make any free 2/2s because those zombies themselves will be decayed, and the zombies and the creatures you steal from your opponents that gain for Gisa, they also gain decayed. So these two out on the field at the same time don't really mesh together, which I'm wondering if that was on purpose. But anyways, that's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate all the likes, comments, subscribers, mostly everybody that helps try to push the channel. That's going to be it for today. I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.